Admiral Jake Morrison stood at the big window of Earth Defense Station watching the stars. He had been doing this job for 20 years, but today felt different. His coffee was getting cold in his hand, but he didn't care. Something was coming. The warning alarm made him jump. Red lights flashed everywhere. Lieutenant Sam Davis ran into the room, his face white with fear. "Sir, we have ships coming out of nowhere. Big ones. Really big ones." Jake put down his coffee and walked to the main screen. What he saw made his stomach drop. Huge ships were appearing around Earth like magic. They were black and covered with strange lights. Each one was bigger than anything humans had ever built. "How many?" Jake asked. 50 ships, sir. Maybe more coming." Dr. Lisa Grant rushed into the room. She was the best scientist on the station, always calm and smart. But now she looked scared too. "Jake, these ships are not like anything in our books. The technology is way beyond ours." Captain Ben Tyler's voice came through the radio from his ship, the Defiant. "Station, this is Tyler. My crew is ready for orders. What are we dealing with?" Before Jake could answer, all the screens changed. A face appeared that made everyone stop talking. It looked like a human, but not quite right. The skin was gray, and the eyes were too big. When it spoke, the voice was cold and empty. "People of Earth, I am Commander Vex of the Zephyrian Empire. Your world has been chosen to join our great empire. This is not a request." Jake felt his hands make fists. Around the room, his crew looked at him for answers he didn't have. The alien continued talking. "For 3,000 years we have brought peace to the galaxy. 40,000 worlds now serve the Empire. You will be number 40,001. Ambassador Kara Williams came running in. She was the best diplomat Earth had, good at talking to anyone, but she had never talked to aliens before. "What do they want?" she whispered. "Listen," Jake said. The alien kept talking. "You have 72 hours to accept our terms. First, you will give us all your weapons and warships. Second, you will pay taxes to the Empire every year. Third, you will give us 30% of your people to work for us." Dr. Grant made a small sound of shock. 30%? That's over 2 billion people. "If you refuse," the alien said, "we will use our standard way of making worlds peaceful. No world has ever refused us. Do not be the first to make this mistake." The screen went black. The room was quiet except for the sound of machines running. Jake broke the silence. "Get me President Clark on the line. Now." While they waited, Captain Tyler called again. "Admiral, my sensors show these ships have weapons we can't even understand. Each one could probably destroy our whole fleet." "How many ships do we have that can fight?" Jake asked. 30 ships that are ready for battle, sir. Maybe 20 more if we call in everything." Lisa Grant was looking at her computer. "Jake, I've been checking our history files. Every species in the galaxy joined this empire. Every single one. No one ever said no. What happened to the ones who might have wanted to fight?" "That's the thing. None of them wanted to fight. They all just gave up." Ambassador Williams was talking quietly on her phone to someone important. She hung up and looked at Jake. "Hilali, President wants to meet with all world leaders in 2 hours. They want to know what you think we should do." Jake looked out the window again at the alien ships. They were just sitting there, waiting, like they knew Earth would give up just like everyone else. "What do you think, Lisa? Can we fight them?" Dr. Grant was quiet for a long time. "Their technology is much better than ours. But Jake, I've been reading about these other species. None of them even tried to fight. They just looked at the ships and gave up. Maybe that's why they always win," Jake said slowly. "Maybe no one ever really tries." Captain Tyler's voice came through the radio again. "Admiral, I'm getting reports from all our ships. The crews are scared, but they're ready to fight if you give the order." Jake thought about his daughter back on Earth. She was only 10 years old. He thought about all the children on Earth and what would happen to them if the aliens took 30% of all people. "Kara, what do the diplomats think?" Ambassador Williams looked tired. "Most of them think we should accept the terms. They say fighting would mean everyone dies, but some think we should at least try to negotiate better terms." "And you?" "I think these aliens don't negotiate. I think they're used to everyone just saying yes. Jake made his choice. Sam, send a message to all our ships. Tell them to get ready, but don't do anything yet. Lisa, I want you to learn everything you can about these aliens in the next 2 hours. Kara, help me figure out what to say to the president. As they all started working, Jake looked at the alien ships one more time. They were beautiful in a scary way, like metal monsters sleeping in space. Sir? Lieutenant Davis asked. What do you really think we should do? Jake was quiet for a moment. Then he said something that would change everything. Sam, humans didn't climb up from caves and build spaceships just to bow down to bullies. Maybe it's time someone showed these aliens what happens when they pick on the wrong species. The countdown had started. Earth had 72 hours to make the most important choice in human history. 1 week had passed since Earth said no to the Zephyrian Empire. Captain Ben Tyler stood on the bridge of his ship, the Defiant, watching space through the big window. His crew was quiet, waiting for what everyone knew was coming. Captain, his officer Maria Santos called out. Something's happening, big energy readings coming from far away. Ben walked over to look at her screen. Lines of light were appearing in space, getting brighter and brighter. Then the ships started coming through. They came one by one at first, then in groups. Huge black ships with strange lights, just like the ones from a week ago. But this time, there were so many more. How many? Ben asked. Still counting, sir. 100, 150, 200 ships. Lieutenant Rick Chen was working at another station. Captain, I'm getting a message from Admiral Morrison. All Earth ships are to meet at .77 Alpha. Ben looked at his crew. They were scared, but they were ready. Maria, take us to the meeting point. Rick, tell the crew to get ready for battle. When they arrived, Ben saw all of Earth's fighting ships waiting in space, 30 big ships and 20 smaller ones. It looked like a lot until you saw the enemy fleet coming toward them. Admiral Morrison's voice came through the radio to all ships. Captains, this is it. They think we'll run away like everyone else did. Let's show them they're wrong. Commander Amy Rodriguez was on the space station, getting her special soldiers ready. These were the toughest fighters Earth had, trained to board enemy ships and fight inside them. Listen up, she told her team. No alien species has ever tried to board their ships in battle. They won't expect it, that's our advantage. One of her soldiers, Sergeant Paul Adams, raised his hand. Commander, what if their ships are too different inside? What if we can't breathe? Then we hold our breath and fight anyway, Amy said. We're not here to make friends. Back on Earth, Engineer Tony Martinez was in his lab, working on the new weapons. He had been working for days without sleep, trying to make something that could hurt the alien ships. The problem is their shields, he told his helper, Dr. Kate Ross. They stop energy weapons like our lasers don't even exist. But I don't think they're ready for old-fashioned rocks. Rocks? Kate asked. Big rocks moving really, really fast. Their shields are made to stop energy, not solid things. Tony's new weapon was simple but deadly. It shot chunks of metal at incredible speed. When something hit their shields, the shields would try to stop the energy. But there was no energy to stop, just a big piece of metal moving faster than a bullet. The alien fleet moved closer to Earth. On the lead ship, Commander Vex looked at the human ships on his screen. There were so few of them. How many ships do the humans have? He asked his officer. 50 ships, Commander. Some are very small. Vex laughed. 50 ships against 200, and they stay to fight instead of running. These humans are either very brave or very stupid. What are your orders? Sir, same as always. Destroy half their ships quickly. The survivors will surrender when they see it's hopeless. This was how every battle had gone for 3,000 years. Show overwhelming force, destroy some ships, and the enemy would give up. It always worked. But Vex didn't know about humans. Captain, Ben Tyler got the signal from Admiral Morrison. The battle was starting. Instead of flying straight at the enemy like normal space battles, the human ships spread out and moved in strange patterns. Rick, activate Tony's special weapons, Ben ordered. Yes, sir. Kinetic cannon ready. The alien ships fired first. Bright energy beams shot across space, hitting some of the human ships. 3 ships exploded right away, but the other human ships kept moving in their strange patterns, making them hard to hit. Then the humans fired back. Tony's weapons didn't make bright lights like energy weapons. They were almost invisible. The aliens didn't even see them coming. The first kinetic shot hit an alien ship right in the middle. The ship's shields tried to stop it, but the big chunk of metal just went through like the shields weren't there. The ship broke apart and exploded. Commander Vex stared at his screen. "What just happened?" "One of our ships was destroyed, sir." "How?" "Their weapons are too weak to hurt us." "I don't know, sir." Another alien ship exploded, then another. The humans were using hit-and-run tactics, shooting and then moving before the aliens could shoot back. Commander Amy Rodriguez and her soldiers launched from the space station in small, fast ships. While the big battle was happening, they flew straight at the alien ships. "Team Alpha, target the big ship on the left," Amy ordered. "Team Beta, you're with me on the command ship." Her small ship landed on the side of an alien ship and cut through the metal wall. Amy and her soldiers jumped inside, wearing spacesuits and carrying simple but effective weapons. The aliens inside had never seen anything like this. For 3,000 years, no enemy had ever come inside their ships during battle. They didn't know what to do. Amy's team fought through the ship, taking control of important areas. They shut down the ship's weapons and engines. The ship started floating helplessly in space. Other human teams were doing the same thing to other ships. Soon, 5 alien ships were dead in space, captured by human soldiers. On his command ship, Commander Vex was starting to panic. This wasn't how battles were supposed to go. The enemy was supposed to give up by now. "Sir, we've lost 15 ships," his officer reported. "The humans have only lost 7. "That's impossible. They're primitives. They just learned to travel in space." "Sir, they're fighting in ways we've never seen before. They're not following any known battle tactics." Admiral Morrison watched the battle from his ship. The plan was working. The aliens were confused and scared. They had never fought anyone who fought back this hard. "All ships, continue the attack," he ordered. "They're breaking." Captain Tyler's ship fired another kinetic shot, destroying another alien ship. "Maria, bring us around for another pass." "Rick, target their biggest ship." The battle continued for 2 more hours. When it was over, all 200 alien ships were either destroyed or captured. The humans had lost 12 ships. "Commander." Vex was brought to Admiral Morrison's ship as a prisoner. He looked shocked and confused. "How?" was all he could say. "You've been bullying people for so long you forgot how to really fight," Morrison told him. "Humans don't give up. Ever." The news of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Zephyrian Empire had lost a battle. Not just lost, but been completely defeated. On distant worlds, enslaved species heard the news and started to whisper. Maybe the Empire wasn't unbeatable. After all, maybe someone had finally shown them that bullies could be beaten. The war was just beginning. News of Earth's victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On the capital world of the Zephyrian Empire, Emperor Zethmok sat on his throne, listening to the report. His advisor, General Crix, stood before him with fear in his eyes. "Tell me again," the Emperor said, his voice cold as ice. "How many ships did we lose?" "All of them, Your Majesty. 200 ships completely destroyed or captured. Emperor Zethmok had ruled for 500 years. In all that time, the Empire had never lost a single battle. Not one ship. Now an entire fleet was gone. These humans," he said slowly. "What makes them different?" "We don't know, sir. They fight in ways we've never seen. They don't surrender when they should." The Emperor stood up from his throne. He was tall and thin with gray skin and cold black eyes. "Send 5,000 ships. Take warriors from 10 different worlds. If the humans want a real war, we'll give them one." Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Jake Morrison was planning humanity's next move. The captured alien ships had given them new technology and information about the Empire. Dr. Lisa Grant worked day and night studying the alien computers. What she found changed everything. "Jake, you need to see this," she said, calling him to her lab. These aliens have files on every species in their empire. Look at this. She showed him pictures and reports on the screen. Species after species, all the same story. The empire would arrive, make demands, and the species would surrender without fighting. Not one species ever fought back? Jake asked. Not one. They all just gave up when they saw how big the empire was. Jake studied the files more carefully. Lisa, look at this. Most of these species are still alive on their home worlds. They're not dead, they're slaves. That's right, the empire doesn't destroy worlds that surrender, they just take control of them. This gave Jake an idea. What if we could talk to these enslaved species? What if we could show them that the empire can be beaten? Dr. Grant smiled. I think I can help with that. Colonel Steve Parker was getting ready to lead humanity's first attack on an alien world. His target was Kethvar, a fortress world that controlled jump routes to 12 systems. Colonel, Admiral Morrison told him, this isn't just about winning a battle. We need to show the galaxy that humans keep fighting even when things look impossible. Steve's fleet was small, only 20 ships, but they had new weapons built from captured alien technology and new tactics that no one in the galaxy had ever seen. Intelligence officer Nina Cross had been working with the captured aliens. Most of them were not Zephyrians. They were from other species forced to serve in the Empire's military. Colonel Parker, she reported, most of the soldiers on Kethvar are slaves, just like the ones we captured. They don't want to fight for the Empire. They just don't know they have a choice. Steve thought about this. What if we gave them a choice? The attack on Kethvar started at night. Instead of attacking the military bases first, Steve's ships flew to the civilian areas and started broadcasting messages. People of Kethvar, the message said in dozens of languages. We are humans from Earth. We are here to free you from the Empire. The Empire is not unbeatable. We have already destroyed their fleets. Join us and we will help you become free. The broadcasts included videos of the battle at Earth, showing alien ships being destroyed by human weapons. For the first time in thousands of years, people on an Empire world saw their masters being defeated. The effect was incredible. On the planet below, the enslaved workers stopped working. Some picked up weapons and started fighting their guards. Others just refused to obey orders. The Zephyrian commanders on Kethvar were confused. This had never happened before. How were the slaves finding courage to rebel? When Steve's soldiers landed on the planet, they found thousands of aliens ready to help them. Former slaves showed them where the weapons were kept and where the Zephyrian leaders were hiding. The battle for Kethvar lasted only 6 hours. When it was over, the fortress world was free, and its new rulers were the same people who had been slaves the day before. Back on Earth, Dr. Lisa Grant was using the alien communication networks to contact enslaved worlds across the galaxy. Her message was simple. Earth has beaten the Empire. You can be free too. The response was amazing. Messages started coming back from hundreds of worlds. Some species sent information about Empire military bases. Others asked for help planning their own rebellions, Jake, Lisa said excitedly. We're not just fighting the Empire anymore, we're starting a revolution. On the Empire capital world, Emperor Zethmok was getting reports of rebellions breaking out everywhere. 20 worlds had stopped sending taxes. 50 more had kicked out their Zephyrian governors. How is this possible? He screamed at his advisors. One little world defeats one fleet and suddenly the whole galaxy thinks they can rebel? General Crix tried to explain. Your Majesty, for 3,000 years we've ruled by fear. People obeyed because they thought we were unbeatable. Now they've seen us lose. Then we'll show them what happens to rebels, the Emperor said. I will personally lead the fleet that destroys Earth. Every species in the galaxy will watch their world burn. Meanwhile, President Ryan Clark was meeting with representatives from 20 freed worlds. They had formed something new, the Free Worlds Coalition. We need to work together, he told the alien diplomats. The Empire will try to destroy us one by one if we don't help each other. A tall blue alien named Speaker Thex raised her hand. President Clark, why should we trust humans to lead this coalition? How do we know you won't become like the Empire? Ryan thought carefully before answering. Because we're not trying to rule you. We're trying to help you rule yourselves. When this war is over, every world should be free to make its own choices. The freed species liked this answer. They had never heard a powerful species say they didn't want to control others. Captain Ben Tyler was now commanding a fleet of 30 ships, 20 human ships and 10 captured alien vessels with volunteer crews from freed worlds. They were preparing for the biggest battle yet. Captain, his officer Maria Santos reported, "Our scouts say the Empire is sending their main war fleet, 5,000 ships led by the Emperor himself." Ben looked at the star map. The Empire fleet was heading straight for Earth, destroying any free world in their path. "Send a message to Admiral Morrison," Ben ordered. "Tell him it's time for Operation Starfall." Dr. Lisa Grant received a coded message from resistance fighters on 12 different Empire worlds. They were ready to strike at the same time Earth's fleet attacked the main Empire force. "The plan is working," she told Admiral Morrison. "When the Empire fleet reaches Earth, half their empire will be in rebellion." Admiral Morrison looked at the reports coming in from across the galaxy. Enslaved species were rising up everywhere. Some were winning, some were losing, but all of them were fighting. "Lisa," he said, "I don't think this is about Earth anymore. This is about something bigger." "What do you mean?" "For the first time in 3,000 years, people across the galaxy believe they can be free. That's more powerful than any weapon we have." The Empire's massive fleet was only days away from Earth. But instead of facing one small world, they were about to face something they had never seen before, an entire galaxy that refused to be slaves. Emperor Zethmok sat in his command ship, watching the stars go by. He still thought this was just about punishing one rebellious world. He had no idea that his empire was already falling apart behind him. The final battle was coming, and it would decide the future of every species in the galaxy. The galaxy was burning. From his ship racing toward Earth, Emperor Zethmok watched the reports coming in. Rebellion after rebellion, world after world turning against the Empire. His beautiful, perfect empire was falling apart. "How many worlds have we lost?" he asked General Crix. "Over 300, Your Majesty. And more every day." The Emperor's hands made fists. "All because of one little world full of primitives." "Sir, they're not primitive anymore. They've learned to use our technology, and they're teaching others." On Earth, President Ryan Clark stood in the command center with leaders from 50 different worlds. The Free Worlds Coalition had grown bigger than anyone expected. Species that had been enemies under the Empire were now working together. "Fleet." Admiral Jake Morrison pointed to the big screen showing the galaxy. Red dots showed Empire worlds, blue dots showed Free worlds, and yellow dots showed worlds where fighting was still happening. "The Empire is losing control," Jake said, "but their main fleet is still coming. 5,000 ships with the Emperor himself leading them." Speaker Thex, the tall blue alien who was now the Coalition's military advisor, studied the numbers. "Admiral, we have ships from 80 different worlds now, but we still only have 1,500 fighting ships total." "Numbers aren't everything," said Diplomatic Corps leader Helen Shaw. "We have something they don't." "What's that?" asked Marcus Blake, who was coordinating resistance movements across the galaxy. "We're fighting for freedom. They're fighting to keep their slaves." Captain Ben Tyler was leading the largest fleet humans had ever assembled, 300 ships from Earth, plus 700 ships from freed worlds. Each ship had a crew that wanted to be there, not slaves forced to fight. His communications officer, Lieutenant Sam Davis, looked worried. "Captain, we're getting reports that the Empire fleet is destroying any free world in their path. They're not even trying to recapture them. They're just destroying everything." Ben felt angry. They can't control the galaxy anymore, so they want to destroy it. That's not leadership, that's madness. On the Empire world of Nexus Prime, Commander Amy Rodriguez was leading a special mission. While the Emperor's fleet was racing toward Earth, she and 200 other Special Forces soldiers were trying to capture the Empire's main communication center. "If we take this facility," she told her team, "we can broadcast to every world in the Empire at the same time." Her team included humans and aliens working together, former slaves who knew the building's layout, human soldiers with new weapons, and rebels from 12 different species. They moved through the building at night, taking control floor by floor. The Empire guards were not ready for this kind of attack. They had spent thousands of years fighting space battles, not fighting inside buildings. By morning, Amy's team controlled the communication center. She activated the equipment and sent out a message to every world in the galaxy. "People of the galaxy," she said, "this is Commander Rodriguez of the Free Worlds Coalition. The Empire's main fleet is far from home, heading to attack Earth. Now is the time. Rise up, fight for your freedom. We will help you." The message included instructions for making simple weapons and tactics for fighting Empire troops. It also had the locations of Empire military bases on hundreds of worlds. The effect was immediate. On world after world, rebellions started at the same time. Empire troops found themselves fighting on thousands of different planets all at once. Back on his flagship, Emperor Zethmok was getting bad news every hour. "Sir, we've lost contact with Nexus Prime," General Crix reported. "Also, rebellions have started on 800 worlds in the last day." "How is this possible? How are they coordinating so many attacks?" "The rebels have taken control of our communication networks. They're using our own systems against us." The Emperor was quiet for a long time. Then he said something that surprised everyone. "Turn the fleet around. We go back to protect the capital." "But sir, what about Earth?" "Earth can wait. If we lose the capital, we lose everything." But it was too late. Intelligence officer Nina Cross had been working with rebel agents throughout the Empire. She knew the Emperor's plans before he did. "Admiral Morrison," she reported, "the Emperor is turning back. But I don't think it matters." "Why not?" "Because his empire isn't there anymore. Look at this." She showed him the latest reports. Over half the Empire's worlds were now free or fighting for freedom. The Empire military was scattered across the galaxy, trying to fight rebellions everywhere. President Clark received a message that made him smile. It was from the capital world of the Empire itself. "Mr. President," the message said, "this is General Vorth of the Zephyrian Home Guard. We want to surrender to the Coalition. The Emperor has gone mad. He's ordering us to destroy our own cities to stop the rebels. Even the Emperor's own people are turning against him," Helen Shaw said when she heard the news. Fleet Admiral Morrison made a decision. "We're not waiting for them to come to us. We're going to end this war now." He launched Operation Starfall, attacks on the 12 most important worlds still loyal to the Empire. But these weren't attacks to destroy. They were attacks to free. Captain Tyler led the attack on the Empire's main shipyard world. Instead of bombing the factories, his ships broadcast surrender terms. "Workers of Keth Industrial," his message said, "you are building ships for tyrants. Stop working and we will protect you. Keep building ships for the Empire and those ships will be used to enslave more worlds." The workers listened. They had heard about the rebellions. They had seen the Empire losing battles. When Captain Tyler's ships arrived, the workers opened the factory doors and let the Coalition forces walk right in. The same thing happened on world after world. Empire troops surrendered without fighting. Workers joined the rebellion. Even some Empire officers switched sides. Emperor Zethmok's 5,000 ships were now only 3,000. A third of his fleet had surrendered or joined the rebellion. The ships that stayed with him were mostly crewed by his most loyal Zephyrian troops. "Your Majesty," General Crix said carefully, "maybe we should consider surrender terms." The Emperor looked at him with cold, angry eyes. "Surrender? I have ruled this galaxy for 500 years. I will not surrender to slaves and primitives. But, sir, we're losing everywhere. The people don't want to be ruled by us anymore. Then they will learn what happens to ungrateful children." The Emperor ordered his remaining ships to attack Coalition worlds with terrible weapons. Weapons that would destroy entire planets. He didn't care about ruling anymore. He just wanted revenge. But his own officers had heard enough. When he gave the order to destroy a planet full of innocent people, General Crix and the other commanders made their choice. "I'm sorry, Your Majesty," General Crix said, "but I cannot follow that order." The Emperor reached for his weapon, but it was too late. His own guards arrested him. The war was over, but the Empire had ended not with a great battle, but with the Emperor's own people saying, "Out Admiral Morrison received the message from General Crix a few hours later. Admiral, this is General Crix of the former Imperial Navy. Emperor Zethmok is our prisoner. We surrender to the Free Worlds Coalition." The galaxy was quiet for the first time in 3,000 years. The Empire was gone. Thousands of worlds were free. And it had all started because one small blue world had refused to bow down to bullies. But now came the hard part, figuring out how to live free. 6 months after the Empire fell, Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the Great Hall on Zephyr Prime, the former capital world of the galaxy. Representatives from over 1,000 worlds had come together to decide what would happen next. The hall was full of different species, tall blue aliens, small furry creatures, rock-like beings, and many others. For 3,000 years, they had all been slaves. Now they were free, but freedom was harder than anyone expected. President Ryan Clark walked to the speaking platform. The crowd became quiet. Everyone wanted to hear what the human leader would say. "Friends," Ryan began, "we have won the war. The Empire is gone. Every world is free. But now we must decide what comes next." A voice called out from the crowd. It was Speaker Thex, the blue alien who had become a leader among the freed species. "President Clark, many of our worlds don't know how to govern themselves. We've been slaves for so long, we've forgotten how to be free." Ryan nodded. "That's why we're here. Not to tell you what to do, but to help you figure it out for yourselves." In the back of the hall, former Emperor Zethmok sat in chains, guarded by Coalition soldiers. He was old and broken now, no longer the proud ruler who had once commanded the galaxy. He would spend the rest of his life in prison, thinking about all the people he had hurt. Dr. Lisa Grant was working with alien scientists to share technology freely among all worlds. The Empire had kept the best technology only for themselves. Now everyone could have it. The Empire used knowledge as a weapon, she told her team. They kept species weak by keeping them ignorant. We're going to do the opposite. Captain Ben Tyler was now Fleet Admiral Tyler, commanding the new Coalition Defense Force. Their job was not to conquer worlds, but to protect them from anyone who might try to start a new empire. "Admiral," his communications officer, Lieutenant Sam Davis reported, "we're getting a request for help from the Outer Rim. Some former Empire officers have stolen ships and are trying to take over 3 systems." Ben sighed. "How many ships do they have?" "About 50, sir." "Send Captain Rodriguez with 100 ships. Tell her to offer the officers a choice: surrender and join the rehabilitation program, or be defeated and go to prison." Commander Amy Rodriguez had become the head of the Coalition's peacekeeping forces. Her job was to stop conflicts before they became wars. When she arrived at the Outer Rim, she didn't attack the rebel ships. Instead, she broadcast a message. "Former Imperial officers, this is Commander Rodriguez. I know you're scared. The galaxy has changed and you don't know where you fit in. But enslaving people isn't the answer. Surrender now, and we'll help you find a new life." Half the rebel ships surrendered immediately. The other half tried to fight, but they were quickly defeated. Amy kept her promise. The officers who surrendered were sent to schools where they learned how to live in a free galaxy. On Earth, monuments were being built to remember the war. But the most important monument was not made of stone. It was the Galactic Cooperation Council, where representatives from every world could meet and solve problems together. Unlike the Empire, no one was forced to join the council. Each world could choose for itself. Some worlds wanted to be part of a big community. Others wanted to be left alone. Both choices were respected. Intelligence Officer Nina Cross had a new job now. Instead of fighting wars, she was helping former slaves learn to trust each other again. The Empire had made species hate and fear each other. Now they had to learn to work together. "It's harder than fighting a war," she told President Clark. "In war, you know who the enemy is. In peace, everyone can be a friend. But friendship takes time to build." Marcus Blake was traveling from world to world, helping set up new governments. Some worlds wanted democracy like Earth. Others wanted councils of elders. Some wanted no government at all. The important thing, he told each world, is that you choose for yourselves. No one else gets to decide how you live. Fleet Admiral Jake Morrison had retired from the military. He now taught at the new Galactic Academy, where young people from all species learned about freedom, cooperation, and peace. His favorite class was called Why Empires Fall. He would tell his students the story of how one small world changed everything by refusing to give up. The empire wasn't defeated by weapons, he would say. It was defeated by an idea. The idea that every person deserves to be free. One day, a young Zephyrian student raised her hand. Admiral Morrison, my people ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. Now we're just one world among many. How do we live with that shame? Jake smiled kindly. Your people aren't responsible for what the Empire did. You're responsible for what you do now. And right now, young Zephyrians are learning alongside humans and hundreds of other species, building a better galaxy together. Not everything was perfect in the new galaxy. Some worlds still had problems. There were arguments and disagreements. Pirates sometimes attacked trade ships. A few species tried to conquer their neighbors. But each time a problem arose, the solution was the same: free worlds working together to help each other. Dr. Lisa Grant published her findings about the former empire. She discovered that the Zephyrians themselves had once been a peaceful species. They had become tyrants slowly over hundreds of years because they thought controlling others would make them safe. Fear made them cruel, she wrote in her report. They were so afraid of being attacked that they attacked everyone else first. The lesson is clear. Fear destroys freedom even for those who think they're in control. President Clark served 2 more terms, then stepped down to let someone else lead Earth. This surprised many alien species, who couldn't understand why someone would give up power voluntarily. That's the point, Ryan explained to the confused aliens. When leaders know they have to give up power someday, they use that power more carefully. 10 years after the Empire fell, the galaxy was a very different place. Trade flowed freely between worlds. Young people traveled to other planets to learn and explore. Art, music, and stories were shared across thousands of light years. On Earth, a simple monument was built in a quiet park. It had no grand statues or fancy decorations, just a plain stone with words carved into it, to those who refused to kneel. The galaxy remembers your courage. But the real monument to Earth's choice was something much bigger. A galaxy where billions of beings lived free, chose their own paths, and helped each other when times were hard. Children growing up in this new galaxy would never know what it was like to live under an empire. They would grow up free, and they would make sure their own children stayed free. Admiral Morrison was right. The Empire hadn't been defeated by weapons. It had been defeated by an idea that spread from world to world like wildfire, the simple idea that no one should have to bow down to anyone else. Earth had refused to submit, and because of that choice, the Empire's worlds were no more. In their place was something better, a galaxy of free worlds, working together, exploring the stars and building a future where everyone could choose their own destiny. The age of empires was over. The age of freedom had begun.